Hey there guys, in this video we're going to be going to the EX stages for Xenogears and doing an all mission clear with only Faye and Chu-Chu. Now we're going to start with the harder one first, Slumbering Resentment level 4. The missions are no continues, no KOs, 5 turns or less. You can only use Xenogears units. Now we're going to use just Faye and Chu-Chu. Disclaimer up front, your Faye needs to be extremely well geared to do all the damage by himself in 2 turns, which is the strategy we're using. If your Faye is not as well geared, you'll need another damage dealer like Graf, Id, the new Ellie, the new Citan, etc. But anyway, with well gear and an EX3 Faye, we can do it with just this party. So let's get in here and do an all mission clear. Alright, so we're going to start Faye in the base form for the auto buff from Titus STMR. Also, we're using auto protect. We're going to shift and we're going to do guided shot to break defense, awakening to buff stats, and hyper mode to buff modifiers. The Chu-Chus can just guard, or you can play dead if you want to hide them this turn. But if we're evading, and we are evading the Chu-Chus, you can just guard them. We're going to just evade it. One of them is provoking. Now it is time to kill the boss. The boss does a strong non-elemental magic attack on turn 2, and it would probably kill somebody. So in order to get an all mission no KOs, we're going to kill it on turn 2. And again, if your Faye isn't strong enough to OTK, you're going to need to add a second damage dealer in that empty party slot. Anyway, we're going to use the shifted LB of Faye to kill it, and the Chu-Chus are going to dual wield flood frames from Espers. 2 of them at least. Now the timing here, once you see the flood rise in the background, wait just a moment and then click your Faye. That way we perfectly cap his entire LB. The frames are pretty bad on it. So we're going to go ahead and send the Chu-Chus. Wait just a moment. Then we're going to click our Faye. And that should be the end of the boss. Boom. Turn 1 OTK. Perfect score. Whatever, all missions. With just a Faye. Now, your Faye needs to be super well geared to pull that off. If you're trying this with a weaker Faye, missing some of the items, you'll probably come up short, and then the boss is going to use your super guided shot. He's going to kill a Chu-Chu. You're going to fail a mission. You could just keep going and kill the boss anyway after Chu-Chu dies, and you'll get 2 out of 3 missions, but we want to do all missions, so there it is. And again, in that empty party slot, if you have another damage dealer, you can add Graf or Id, etc. But anyway, there's an all missions. Let me show you the gear, and then we'll pop over to the other one real quick. So 2 of the Chu-Chus are on Flood Espers for, Flood frames. We're dual wielding multi-element weapons. If you don't have Poppy's STMR, just add as many elements as you can. You can also give them things like Craftsman's Book to imbue on the first turn. But because Faye's LB is so spaced out, we want it to be perfectly capped by a maxed out chain from the very first hit. So multi-element is the way to go. Now we're evading them just for full evasion. If you can't gear them full evasion, they can hide on turn 1 and come back chain turn 2. That's totally fine. Second Chu-Chu, identical. And then third Chu-Chu is just here to provoke. So Obsidian Bracer, passive provoke, full evasion. And that's kind of it. Honestly speaking, you don't need the third Chu-Chu. 2 of them is enough, but there it is. And if, by some heresy, you don't want to use Chu-Chu, you can support chain with other Xenogears units. And then Faye, in the base form, is using the source of auto protect and Titus STMR. That's a really big boost for him. Wear that in the base form, start him in the base form. Then we're going to shift him, and very well geared Faye. We're using a bunch of rulers gear, some chain cap up. We're using a really decent card with high attack, with high stats. Keep in mind the Xenogears units have a 1000% bonus to their base stats. So something like a 150 attack power card is a really big deal. It's a lot stronger than something like, for example, Cog's card. Also, Helm Mastery, Light Armor Mastery. You need to be using his own TMR or STMR for the flat stats. And then we're getting, Id's TMR as well, because I happen to have an Id. So there's a super well-geared Faye carrying it. If your Faye is not quite as well-geared, then you can add a second damage dealer. You can also do the exact same strategy with Id. Or, I don't know if the strategy would work with Graf or not. maybe. But we're gonna go to the other one. Now this one is super easy. This one you can like basically OTK on turn 1. So no continues, 5 turns or less, etc. And in fact, we are gonna kill it on turn 1 just because we can. So let's go ahead and do this one. But this one, same thing. If you're not OTKing it on turn 1, you can do the setup and kill it on turn 2. But like I said, this one is incredibly squish. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Then we'll send our Fae, and there it is. Turn 1 OTK. Yeah, this one's no problem whatsoever. The harder one is the true Weltall or the other fight. I don't know. Anyway, there's an all mission clear. As far as budget runs, there's not really any other units to add except Xenogears, and Fae is the most budget of all of them. So if you don't have Fae, hopefully you have Graph or Id, or you're pulling in the new banner, because like you're not going to do anything with the 7-star units. They didn't get upgraded from their JP upgrades, and even if they did, their JP upgrades did not add any damage to them, so they still wouldn't be able to carry the fight. You have to have a Neo unit to do it in 5 turns. Yeah, so there was just Fae. Empty party slot, add any damage dealer you want in that empty slot, and hopefully you kill it in 2 turns. If you don't kill it in 2 turns on that other fight, he uses guided shot, and it'll probably kill somebody, and you'll fail the no death mission. Anyway, see you in a bit.